In today's video, I'm gonna teach you how to build credit starting from zero. Nada. Zilch. In fact, everything that I'm about to show of you has helped me build my credit score over 800. So if you want to get started with building credit and want to know the best practices, make sure you watch the rest of this video. What's up, winners? My name is Nam, and here we talk all things personal finance. Start by subscribing so you don't miss out on any future videos. When I was first learning how to build my credit score years ago, I had no clue where to start. You probably know that our school system really never taught us about financial literacy and credit. Currently, we live in a society where credit is becoming more and more important in our everyday lives. A credit score is needed if you want to rent, get a mortgage on a house, getting a car loan, and also it can affect your career. So in this video, this is going to be mainly aimed towards individuals who have no credit at all, like you're fresh out of high school or you just never had a need for credit. Today, I'm going to go over 4 different methods to build credit. Then I'm going to finish off with the best credit practices so you can build your credit over 800 like I've done. So let's kick things off with method number 1. Get a credit card. Honestly, this is my favorite way of building credit. The reason why I say this is that it's fairly easy to do and you can start learning how to responsibly use your credit card today. There are usually 2 routes that you can take if you want a credit card. There are traditional unsecured credit cards and secure credit cards. So first, let me talk about traditional unsecured credit cards. This is probably what you imagine when you think of a credit card. This is a little piece of plastic that you apply for, and if you get approved, you have money available to you to use on purchases. But the key factor of getting approved for this type of credit card is based off your credit score. But what if I have no credit score? That's why I'm watching this video. Just because you have no credit score does not mean you won't be able to get one of these credit cards. The easiest way to get a traditional credit card is usually to apply to the credit card of where you bank at. So for instance, let's just say that you bank at Bank of America. You have a checking and a saving accounts there, so you can go ahead and apply for the cash rewards credit card. If you were to go with your primary bank first, you have better odds of getting approved, because the credit card issuer will have direct access to your money and they know all of your transaction history. Since the credit card issuer has no background on you, this will provide them with more security in lending you some money. On the other hand, with secure credit cards, these are generally very easy to get approved for, but there's a catch. You will need a cash deposit. The reason why you need this is that because depending on the amount of cash that you want to deposit, that will be your credit line. For example, if you want a credit line of $500, then you will have to deposit $500. The great thing about secure credit cards is that they work exactly the same as regular credit cards. Whenever you make purchases and pay it off every single month, the information gets reported to the credit bureaus. These are the guys that control your credit score. Depending on the card, usually after 6 months, they will review your account and then they can upgrade your account to a traditional unsecured credit line. Meaning that the amount of money that you do deposit into this account will be refunded back to you and they will just extend you a line of credit as a normal credit card would. Now here are some recommendations for traditional unsecured credit cards and secure credit cards. But just as a reminder, if you do bank with any bank that offers credit cards, make sure you go with them first because you probably have a better chance of getting approved. Once you build your credit after 6 months to a year, then you'll go ahead to apply for more credit cards that have way better perks and rewards. Let's kick things off with a regular credit card. The Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card. With this credit card, you get 3% cash back on your category of choice, 3% cash back on grocery stores and wholesale clubs, and 1% cash back on all other purchases. There's also no annual fee. Plus, if you have an account with Bank of America that's greater than $20,000, you can get an extra boost to your rewards. Now here's a recommendation to a secure credit card, the Discover It Secured Card. So since this is a secure card, you have to place a security deposit for your credit line. You also earn 2% cash back at gas stations and restaurants up to $1,000 each quarter, and you also earn 1% cash back on all other purchases automatically. In addition to that, within the first year, they will automatically match all of your cash back that you've earned. After 6 months, Discover will do an automatic review to see if they can transition you to a regular unsecured credit line. So before we move on, there's one thing that we have to talk about as well, which is credit card fees. I highly recommend, if you're just getting started with credit cards, to open up a credit card that does not have any annual fees. You usually see annual fees with more premium travel credit cards, so if you're just starting out, try to look for a card without one. Another thing to look out is late fees. Whenever you open up a credit card, you usually have around 30 days to pay off the balance. You can either pay the balance in full or just make the minimum payment. If you just only make the minimum payment, then you just get charged with the interest on the balance. That's something that you should never do. If you are late to the payment, either the full balance or the minimum payment, you will be charged with a late fee. This is usually around $25 to $35. So this is something that you should never want to do either. Once you get a better credit score, this is where you have better opportunities to get better credit cards, rewards, and cash bonuses. So now let's talk about method number 2. Get added on as an authorized user. If you want to increase your credit score basically overnight, this will be the quickest way to get a credit score. So how this would work is that you will need someone who has a very high credit score. Preferably someone with a credit score over 700. The higher, the better. This can be your parents, family members, or pretty much anyone that would allow you to. So let's just say that you have a family member who has a credit score of 780. You'd want to ask them to get added onto one of their credit cards that they had the longest. The reason why you want to do this is that you will basically adopt their credit history on that credit card, and you will basically adopt their credit score. Once you get added on as an authorized user, I recommend getting some sort of credit tracking app such as Credit Karma or something similar so you can see your credit score. Once you develop a score, that's when you should start applying for your own credit cards. This will get you way better odds of getting approved for the credit card rather than having no credit at all. The key takeaway here is finding someone who trusts you. This is my suggestion. Whoever you find has a great credit score, ask them if you can get added on as an authorized user, but they can keep the credit card or shred it. This way, the owner of the credit card has a peace of mind that you won't ruin their credit. Whenever you do develop a credit score, you can go ahead and get your own. Now, getting added on as an authorized user does not only apply to credit cards. This can also apply to car loans. So for example, let's just say that there's a $10,000 used car that you would like to buy. You would want to find this person who has an excellent credit score to be the primary, and you become the co-signer and you would make the payments. Again, the thing with this is that the person who's going to be the primary has to have a lot of trust in you. Because if you do not keep up your end of the deal, not only this will screw up your credit score, but it will screw over the person who's willing to risk their credit score to help you out. It's like promising someone that you will help them move, but never showing up. So now let's move on to the third method, loans. Believe it or not, anytime that you take out a loan, this will have a direct effect on your credit score. This can either be good or bad. If you're just starting off your credit journey and you just graduated high school and now you're entering college, many students out there, they have to take out student loans. It is very easy to take out a student loan, but it can be a headache in the future if you take out too much. Since a student loan is a financial product, you really don't start building credit until you start paying it off. For instance, if you're in class right now, you will not have to make any payments. But once you graduate, starting after 6 months or so, you would have to start paying this loan back. Once you start making payments, after a few months to 6 months, you will start building credit. But if you do not make your payments on time, this will have a negative effect on your credit score. Of course, you can always defer your payments, which basically puts off paying your loans right now, but you can still accrue interest, which is really never a good thing. But the key concept here is to make sure you make your payments on time. Another option for loans aside from student loans is getting an auto loan. It is very possible to get a car loan with no credit because there are a bunch of other factors that credit unions and financial institutions they look at. Some of the key aspects is having a down payment and having a steady source of income. If you have any of the two things that I just said, you have better chances of getting approved for an auto loan. If you were to go this route, I would not advise to go with the financial company that the car dealership is recommending. I would always go with your own personal bank or your credit union. The main reason why I say this is that you will most likely get a better rate. 6% is much better than 15%. Also, you should try to get a less expensive car just to reduce the amount of interest that you would have to pay. Since you don't have any credit, you won't get the absolute best rate. This was actually one of the first ways that I was able to build my credit to where it is now. So now let's talk about method number 4. Get a cell phone plan. The best way to approach this is to get your own personal cell phone plan that reports to credit bureaus. This won't work with prepaid plans since it's prepaid. So it's best to go with a cell phone company where you can sign into a contract for about a year. But before you sign on to the contract, just double check that they do report to the credit bureaus. Because there's really no point of signing up for a particular provider if they don't do this. But if you were going to go this route without having any co-signer or anything like that, then you would most likely have to put down a deposit. This would probably be a few $100s, but once the contract is up, they will return your money. So now you guys know a few methods to build your credit from zero. Let's talk more about credit because you guys need to have a full understanding of what goes into a credit score so you guys have a better understanding of how to build it. It is kind of like building a house without a blueprint. So here's a quick rundown of what goes into a credit score. So imagine a big old pie that equals up to 100%. The highest credit score that you can achieve is 850 and the lowest credit score is 300. If you never had any credit at all, then you won't have any of these numbers. The only way to get on the lower spectrum is by having some sort of credit, then ruining your credit. But if you have no credit history at all, which means no loans or credit cards open, then you basically don't have a credit score on file. So now let's talk about the breakdown. 35% of your credit score will be due to your payment history. The key thing here is making your payments on time. It doesn't matter if you're making the minimum payment or payment in full every single month. As long as you make your payments on time, then you should be golden. The next largest portion of your credit score will be the amounts owed or your credit utilization, which is 30%. Credit utilization is a ratio of how much money that you're actually using compared to the money that's available to you. So I'll post a link right here of a video of where I go into very deep detail of how to pay your credit cards in a particular way to maximize your credit score. So check out that video after this one. But just to give you guys an example, if you guys have a credit line of $1,000, if you just use $300 of it, currently you have a credit utilization of 30%. Just because you have a balance on your credit card or loan does not necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. It just shows that you're actually using the money. But when you max out your credit cards, this is where it can have a negative effect on your credit score. Ideally, you want to have the amounts owed or your credit utilization across all credit lines to be less than 30%. The lower, the better. So let's just say that you have 3 credit cards and the total credit line that you have available to you is $9,000. You want to have a balance of $3,000 or less every single month. Whenever you get your statement balance, either in the mail or electronically, just make sure that you pay it off in full. The next portion of your credit score will be the length of history. This will contribute 15%. There's really no hack for this, so the best way to approach this is to open an account and just to keep it open forever. So I recommend if you were just to open up a credit card, get one with no annual fee and just keep it open forever, even if you don't use it. Another way to temporarily increase your length of credit history is by getting added on as an authorized user, since you're just adopting the credit information from that person. Another thing that your credit score takes into account is the credit mix, which is 10%. Credit mix is a combination of different types of financial products that can be credit cards, retail accounts, loans, and mortgages. This does not necessarily mean that you need to have each one of these to have a higher credit score, but it does show that you have diversity in different financial products. And the last part that goes into your credit score is new credit. This is 10% of your credit score. So whenever you decide to apply for a new credit card or a car loan, they will have to pull your credit. There are usually 2 types of credit pulls, a soft pull and a hard pull. Soft pulls are usually for pre-approval offers such as pre-qualified credit cards, and they usually don't have any effect on your credit score. On the other hand, if you are applying for a credit card or an auto loan, this will usually result in a hard pull. Hard pulls are the ones that have a negative effect on your credit score for the short term, but your score will usually bounce back within a few months. But having several hard pulls over a short period of time, this will usually look like you're more desperate for money. So in turn, the lenders will see you at higher risks and they will reject you for the application. If you were gonna take away anything from this portion of the video, I would say to focus on 2 things that have the greatest effect on your credit score, which is your payment history and the amounts owed. These 2 things you have the greatest control of. Just remember to make your payments on time, and if you have a credit card, pay the balance in full every statement period and never max them out. Now, I want to turn it over to you. Which method from today's video do you want to try first? Are you going to give it a go and apply for a traditional credit card, or are you going to get added on as an authorized user? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, if you guys haven't already, make sure you give this video a like because that really helps support the channel, and if you want to hang out with me some more, I'll see you guys in my next videos.